Hey guys, how's it going? So today I'm out in the vegetable garden and I'm gonna actually plant some more seeds for spinach and lettuce. And in order to do that this late in the game, this late in the season, I'm gonna be utilizing two different things to help extend our growing season or our harvest season. And they're different than the other things I already have out here. So I'm going to install a soil heating cable in one of our raised beds. I have used these several times in the past and have had really great luck. I don't even know what brand this is. It looks very vintage. I got it down at the garden center. And then I'm gonna install some super hoops over the same raised bed, which are these metal kind of hoops that you can kind of adapt to whatever height and size of space you have. And then I'm gonna drape a garden quilt over the top of it to kind of trap in some heat. We have 5 more nights with temperatures above freezing, and then it is going to dip down below freezing. But if we can get the seeds in the ground today, get some heat trapped in, get them germinated, because it usually happens pretty quickly, I think we will probably have success. I don't know, everything's a little bit of a risk this late in the game anyway. And I figured I've got some open raised bed space, may as well give it a shot. I'm also gonna plant some tulip bulbs, 1,000 of them, in these raised beds today. I thought it would be really pretty just to incorporate some different types of color in here and to grow some tulips for cutting alone. Because you know, all the other tulips out in our landscape, I hate to cut from them because they add so much aesthetically to my flower beds that I always feel like I'm robbing my flower beds of what they're meant to look like. So I want to plant a few raised beds with those bulbs so I can just cut with abandon and not feel bad about it. Let me show you the menagerie of stuff I'm gonna be using today. Okay, I think I've got everything I need, I think. I've got both of my fertilizers, so I'll be using Biotone in the spinach and lettuce bed. I've got Bulb Tone for the bulb beds. I've got 3 different varieties of tulips, but I think I'm not sure. I might plant all 3. I've got one called French Blend Rose, and these are all from Color Blends. This one is a mix of pink, rose, and apricot. Then this bin is full of a variety called Avaron, which is a double pink, beautiful. And these are both kind of late bloomers, so they'll be blooming at the same time. And then we've got one called Blushing Lady. Now I don't know if I'm going to actually plant this one in here because I only have 100 tulips. 100 tulips actually doesn't stretch that far. Like, I was looking even at this empty space and I could put 100 in there, but I really like balance even in our vegetable garden. So if I can't put them here too, I don't know, we'll see. Those might end up in the landscape. And then I've got my super hoops right here, my nailing pad, my soil heat cable, gloves, and my digging forks, large and small, and a watering can because we don't have active water to this space anymore. Even though it's supposed to be above freezing for the next 5 nights, we did turn our water off like maybe 10 days ago or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, because it did dip down to 15 a couple weekends ago. So anyway, we've been just kind of trucking water to everything that needs it. It's always that weird transition time of year where it kind of goes warm and then cold, warm and then cold. And it would be nice to have active water in all of our faucets, but I don't want to risk breaking anything. So here's the plan. In this 3x6 raised bed, I want to plant tulips. Oh, you naughty Russell. You need to get off of that. Well, I want to show this anyway. This is that plant protective tent that I installed a couple of weeks ago. It's actually too big for the 3x6 raised bed that's under it because I meant to use this in a different space, but it's working great. I actually ordered some 3x6s to come in so they'll fit properly, but I don't care as long as it works. Oh, Russell, for crying out loud. Anyway, it's got these 3 flaps so you can open it up. This is kind of in part to keep you out, Russell. So you can open it up during the day if it gets really warm, but look at how beautiful the lettuce is. There's some radishes on the far end. I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. The other greens in our garden on that night that dipped down really low, they did get some damage from that, but not this. And while I'm excited to have some of these, say it'll be exactly the same, just smaller, so it'll fit the beds, it was kind of nice just to bring this over and just set it down on the ground. See what happened to some of my other greens on that night? We've got some kale here that got a little bit of damage from the cold. This one, not so much. This is the dwarf curled blue scotch, or dwarf blue curled scotch kale right there, and this is lacinato. So I don't know. Anyway, the goal is to plant tulips in this bed, and then on the other side where the bed size is mirrored, so right where Russell is sitting, we'll plant the other tulips, And then this raised bed is where we will put the soil heat cable and plant more greens. So I'm going to start by installing the soil heat cable first. It's been a while since I've actually put one of these in the ground, but there is a chart that says based on the approximate square foot of your area how many feet of the soil heat cable you should use. So I have a 3x6 bed, which is 18, well, Russell, hey, 18 square feet, which means I will use two 36-foot lengths. We'll see how that fits. I don't think I've ever gone by the chart properly. This is what it looks like right here. It's like a continuous circle. In fact, this might be helpful to see. So based on the area size you have, you can install it several different ways. This is kind of how I think mine will end up looking, except for just halfway down the bed. We'll use the whole thing maybe. 36 feet seems really long. And we're gonna bury it about 3 to 4 inches under the soil. So let's do that quick. Russell, no, no, no. Hey, no. He is being an absolute pill. Russell. So I started it in the middle right here, just in case I needed to use two, and that way I could plug them both together right by the power source. I'm gonna have to run power from a outlet that we have right back there. So I'll just do an extension cord here and then just run it on the ground right here to the plug-in. But I just kind of wanted to show you what it's looking like right from the beginning. So I question the spacing of this because I have a ton left. There's a ton of heat cable right here, and it said 9 square feet for a 36-foot cable. I don't know. I mean, because 9 square feet is half of this thing. I'll have to put the cable really close together, which I can do, and maybe that's better, but this is my first run. You don't want to have it anywhere near wood or like touching each other or crisscrossed or anything like that. And in order to not make a mess, I'm gonna probably just do like this outer ring, I'll cover it back up, and then I'll just keep doing that. I'll run the next one like right in here, really close to it, and it'll just kind of go until I get to the center, I think. Looks all innocent over there, but boy, he wants this heat cable. Russell. Well, I got 2 of them to fit. A little bit of trial and error there. I started out by trying to get one to fit in half, and it just seemed like I had so much excess. So I pulled it out and decided to try it in the whole bed, just one cable, just to see what the distribution was like, and it seemed like the cables were a little too far apart. So I pulled it out again and installed it for a 3rd time and ended up getting both of them to fit, and they are pretty close to each other. Like the cables are like 2 inches from each other, which is probably going to be better anyway. I'm not sure exactly how well I spaced it out. Like we may have some areas that stay a little bit warmer than others, but overall I think it should be all right. So the next steps are biotone fertilizer. Then I'm gonna run my drip line because I've got it here and I just don't want it to be a mess outside of the bed. I won't be using it this fall and winter. We will be hand watering. And then I'm going in with a mix of giant noble spinach seeds and butter crunch lettuce. And I'm not gonna do rows. I'm just gonna scatter the seed in there and we'll water it in. And then we can put our super hoops up. Oh, I think things are looking really good. Look at those super hoops. Aren't those awesome? So they each have a base support, and I hope that you were able to see this in the camera. I'm not sure my angle was very good when I was installing them, but they have a base piece that goes to here and on either side, and then there are 3 pieces that are included in each set of the super hoops. I only used 1 because I don't need a very tall dome for this project, but you could make these 3 times as big. So the other pieces are here. You can see, like, that's a connector piece, and then you just connect them by slipping this little silver thing over the black part, and then you can put your other piece in right there, and it holds it all together. So you could go taller and or wider with these, and I like the practicality of that because you can use these types of things for any situation. It doesn't have to be a raised bed. It could be something in your garden you want to protect. I mean, it's a little bit different. These are, you know, like, that's the size it is. You can't really change that. So it's nice to have both. Something that'll fit your beds and then something that's adaptable for all kinds of different things. So now I'm gonna put my cover on, and it's still in the package sitting here, but it's just this white material that's fairly lightweight. The garden quilt, I believe, is the heaviest of all 3 that they have. Like, there's an all-purpose one and a summer weight one, but this one will protect crops down to 24 degrees, which with, like, couple the soil heat cables with the additional protection on the top, I think that's pretty good, especially given the fact that lettuce and spinach can take quite a bit of cold, so I think we'll be good. And it allows 60% of available light through, which these aren't super highlight crops either. So I could roll it up during the day, like on a nice day like this, and let them just soak in the sun and then protect them at night. And to tack them down, I'm just using bricks. We always have, like, some broken bricks that we meant to use for something else. So I'm just gonna kind of gather it up in the corners and weight it down with the bricks. All buttoned up. I do think I'm gonna grab a couple more bricks for each side. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4, just to make sure it's nice and tight. I did have a bunch of it left over. Is that comfy, bud? He finds every opportunity. And you might be thinking I'm completely nuts for going to all the trouble just for some lettuce and spinach, but it's absolutely worth it, just putting in a little bit of effort in the beginning to be able to go out in December and January sometimes to harvest greens, depending on how our winters are. You never really know. And like I said, it is a little bit of a risk to do projects this late, but I always figure if I have extra space and I'm not doing anything with it, I may as well try. And you know, it's really just an initial investment, because once you have this stuff, you can use it for indefinite amount of years. So now I'm gonna do some tulip planting in here. I'm really excited about this part. So I'm thinking we're gonna do the French blend rose right here where cheddar is, and then the averons will be on the other side. I'm really not sure how I'm gonna do this. If I'm gonna try just doing trenches like I do with my garlic and potatoes, or if I should try to dig out like half of the bed at a time. We'll see. I think I just need to get into the project. Here we go. they kind of look the same, but there's almost 500 tulips in each one of those beds. I was able to fit maybe like 450, so I've got a few bulbs left that I can pop into some containers. And looks exactly the same, but here's the other one. It's gonna be so pretty in the spring. I ended up using the trench method to plant the bulbs because I thought I could fit the most amount in the smallest amount of space, which I think is true. If I was to go in and do rows, I figured that I was gonna be losing the space in between the rows, and I really want it to be like a full bouquet, each one of these raised beds. The trench method for planting bulbs is the worst. I honestly do not like using that method because it's a lot of work, because you dig out, like you excavate an entire area down to 6 inches deep, then you have to find a spot for all the soil, and I never can find this space for all the soil because I'm either, you know, working in raised beds or working in really tight spaces in flower beds. So augers are like the way to go for me, but I was able to fit a lot of bulbs in these beds. And it did end up getting quite warm. It was 37 when I started, and I think it's in the 60s now. It's a beautiful afternoon, but boy, I got warm. And that is going to be it for today's video. I'm really excited to give you updates, especially on the bulbs this next spring, because I think that's going to be just gorgeous. And then of course the greens, I'll let you guys know how that goes. It may work, it may not. It's just one of those things. It's really fun to have them in though, because it's something to look forward to seeing happen over the next few weeks. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye. P.S. I forgot to mention, I am going to be watering in the raised beds that I planted the tulips in today. So I always do that when I plant bulbs. I water them in initially, and then typically we have enough moisture between, you know, intermittent rainstorms and snow through the winter to keep everything hydrated enough. But if we have a really long dry spell that's windy, I usually do come out and splash a little bit of water on the areas I've planted with bulbs. So I just wanted to let you know that. Okay, bye.